What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another fly time tutorial. I know it's been a little bit. I've been out fishing a lot, so I want to share with you one of my favorite patterns I've been fishing lately. I don't really have a name for it. It's just really simple, kind of like a pheasant tail variation. The main reason why I've been tying these simpler flies is because I don't really have time to sit down and put 3 hours in at the vise anymore. These are super easy to tie, so if you're just getting into fly tying or want something quick, either you're tying out on the water or something like that, like in a hotel or somewhere that you can't really sit down and put time in, this is a great little fly and it's going to catch you a lot of fish. So I'm going to get a fresh hook in the vise and we'll get going with this tutorial. So the hook we have in the vise right now is a Partridge Patriot. This is their Barbless Czech Nymph number 14. And the bead we have on there is a Tungsten bead. This is a 1/8 black nickel. I've been using tungsten on all my flies because I've pretty much just been Euro nymphing. The reason why I have a bigger bead on this hook is because the rivers I've been fishing are single barbless. So I want this fly to get down fast. That's why I'm using the bigger bead. If I was running two flies, two 14s or a 14 and a 16, 14 and 18, or a 16 and 18, I would use a smaller bead on this. I would use a 7/64, the 2.8 mil tungsten bead. But I've been fishing a lot of single flies, so this is why I have the bigger bead on here. I'm also going to put a couple wraps of this lead-free 0.15. So I'm just going to make about 6 wraps or so of this 0.015. And what that's going to do is just going to keep this bead in place here, as well as add some additional weight to get this down to the bottom where the fish are quicker and riffles and faster moving water. The thread we're using is just some Veevus GSP. This is the 50D. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to start my thread right behind this lead wraps. Make sure they're pushed up all the way behind that bead. Then I'm going to come in and just cut out that little tag end. It's like so. Smoothing this out just a bit. Now I like to do is actually just grab my hook and turn it when I'm putting a tail in. And for the tail, we're just going to be using some pheasant tail. You can use a Coq de Leon, or you can even use biots on this if you're into tying up flies with some biots. So I'm just going to grab 3 or 4 strands here. Now this fly can be tied in tons of different variations and such. This one right here is one of my favorite and what has been working for me lately. So I've just kind of been sticking to it. I haven't been really venturing out into any other patterns, mainly because I just don't have the time right now to tie. So I'm just tying quick, effective flies up lately. So once I have that pheasant tail in, I can bring that back up to normal. Now we're going to be tying in the rib, and for the rib we're just going to be using some small wire. This is just a copper size, or small size, and the color is copper. So I'm going to tie this in on the side of the hook facing towards the camera. I'm just going to bring that down to where my tail starts there. Now for the body, I've been using this stuff lately on a lot of my flies and I really like it. It's really easy to use. Is this Veevus body quill. So I got 4 colors here. This is a BQ13. It's kind of like a golden color. This is the BQ1, and this is just black. BQ5, that's an olive. I've been tying a lot of flies with this. And the BQ8, this is like the brownish, and this is what I've been tying a lot of my flies with. It's awesome, awesome stuff. It's almost kind of like a stretchy material. You can pull it off the spool, or you can actually use a bobbin and do it that way. But I just like to wrap it in. I feel like I have more control. So I just double it over, just like so. Then tie it in here. And what I really like about this stuff is once you put some sort of UV epoxy or something like that on it, it actually becomes really translucent, and it looks really natural in the water. So I'm just going to tie that in, bring my thread up, just do 2 little wet finishes there to save my work. Now I'm going to grab this body quill material and just start making some nice overlaying wraps here. I like to overlay them just a bit because it's not that thick of stuff. So I like to cover everything up. So I'm just going to palmer this towards the front here. And as you can see already, it just looks so much more lifelike than a lot of materials I've been using. So I've been really liking this stuff. So I'm just going to tie that off. Then I can come in with my scissors and cut out the little tag end piece. Just like so. Now I'm just going to grab this wire. I'm going to just wrap it up. Make a nice spaced ribbing. Just like so. Then you can just tie off this wire. You can just helicopter that out. Just like so. Now I like to come in with a little Loon Outdoors fluorescing flow, and I just like to dab this on here. I'm not covering it by any means. I still want to see those wraps come through. I'm just putting a little protective coat over that body quill, and once that sinks down into the body quill, you can still see the ribbing there. So I'm just going to zap that with my light, cure that up. As you can see, it looks really translucent now. It's really awesome stuff if you can get your hands on some. So as far as the wing case goes, I'm just going to be tying in a little bit of thin skin. This is in a black color, just regular black thin skin. So I'm going to tie that right on top. Now for the thorax, I'm just using some hare's ear. I've blended off a hare's mask. You can use whatever dubbing you want if you want to use ice dub, but I've been using this natural. I've been trying to keep it more natural, nothing too flashy. I feel like the fish are keying in a lot more on this hare's ear rather than some sort of ice dub if I tied in. But it's all personal preference. Tie up a couple different ones, experiment on your river and see what works best. So I'm just gonna dub a kind of a bushy thorax here before I tie in some legs. Just like so. Now for the legs, I'm just going to be using some more pheasant tail. You could use, like I said, biots. You could tie this all biots. You can use some Hungarian partridge. It's total personal preference with the colors and everything. This is just kind of like a base to work off of. So I'm just going to grab about 4 or 5 pheasant tail fibers here. Tie these in as the legs. And for the legs, I usually tie them in as long as the back of the body. So that's a good measurement, a good gauge to go off of. Just trim this guy up a little, just like so. Put a couple nice tight wraps in there. Then I can just cut out my remaining pieces. I'm just going to grab a little bit more hare's ear here just to cover up those butts and kind of push those pheasant tail fibers back so they're kind of just pointing back like legs. Kind of just keep them a little bit more contained here so they're not flying everywhere. And I'm not putting that much dubbing here, just a little. It's a nice little pinch. It's like so. Now I'm going to pull my thin skin over, tie that off. Just like so. Then I can just come with my scissors, cut out that thin skin there. Now at this point, since I'm using GSP, what I like to do is just get a Sharpie here and just color about 2 to 3 inches of the thread. That soaks in really quick. Then I'm just going to throw a nice little 4 or 5 turn whip finish in here. Seat that nice and tight in there. Cut it out. Kind of just preen where you want all this stuff. Just like so. Now at this point I'm just going to put a little bit of Loon Outdoors on this thorax. Just to make it a little bit more tougher and a little bit more lifelike. So usually I put thin on this, but I've actually ran out of thin, so I've just been using the thick. And if you watch how much comes out, you can definitely make do. The only thing I don't like about the thick is when you dry it, like when you cure it, it stays tacky. So what I like to do is just hit it with the light for a couple seconds, then come in with this fluorescing flow, then just hit that, and it makes it all smooth. And you don't need much, just enough to kind of coat that top piece. Just like so. Cure that. And you're good to go. So this is an awesome little pattern. I've been fishing it probably about 85 to 90% of the time I'm on the water. Been catching lots of fish with it, lots of browns, rainbows. So tie a couple of these up. Let me know how you do. Change out the colors, change out the materials. It's pretty much just a pheasant tail kind of variation. So if you like today's video, guys, give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions about any of the materials or anything like that, just drop that down in the comments and I'll answer it. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Thanks a lot again for watching, and we'll see you in the next one, guys.